Potato.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Ann Sanders.
First at 4. Good afternoon. A crime spree has come to a crashing end after 3 men allegedly led police on a wild chase through the streets of Western Sydney. Ashley Hansen has the details. Ash, the men are now facing serious charges.
Good afternoon. The group's crime spree allegedly began here at Cranebrook at around 8 o'clock this morning. It ended an hour later with a dramatic police chase through neighbouring suburbs. The offenders allegedly arrived in a stolen car and broke into this house, stealing a bag of tools before setting a bathroom alight. Firefighters arrived and put out the blaze as police pursued the suspects travelling in a stolen Camry. A short time later, the chase came to a crashing end at Penrith when the Camry rammed into a parked Audi. The accused driver was bleeding and injured when he was taken under guard to Nepean Hospital. 2 other passengers were arrested at the scene.
We were asleep and then all we heard was the sirens, and then we heard the screeching of metal on metal. We heard the bang, and then it was just 13, 14 cop cars all around. They just blocked them all in.
The stolen car lost its tyre 3 kilometres before the alleged driver finally stopped and was arrested. Police are relieved no innocent bystanders were hurt in the pursuit.
The risk that this driver has put to the public is extreme.
The accused driver is well known to police. It's believed he's never held a licence and is now facing a list of serious charges.
To breaking news now, a man has been thrown from his horse onto a road in Bankstown. He was then hit by a passing car. These pictures are coming in right now from our news helicopter. It happened on Stacey Street. Information is still coming in, but at this stage we've been told he's stable but suffering hip and leg injuries. He's being taken to Liverpool Hospital right now. Health officials in Victoria are scrambling to contain yet another COVID outbreak, this time at a Melbourne townhouse complex, which is now in lockdown. Live to Robert Avadia. Good afternoon, Rob. Residents there have been forced into isolation.
And yes, again, it just seems the pressure the coronavirus is putting on Victorian Melburnians. And again, we see in this inner city apartment complex in fashionable South Bank, roughly 100 homes there which have been affected. The concern for Victorians is that of the 2 people confirmed there to have COVID, one of them resided at a place where a fellow worker at Arcare, which was the beginning of this outbreak in Melbourne, where they worked as well. So right now there is a scramble, nurses descending on that complex to do testing, to do mass testing of absolutely everybody, and those people now in isolation until all those results can come back. So Melburnians once again doing it tough, obviously throwing school holiday plans for all of us into disarray with anybody who had any plans to visit Victoria during the upcoming school holidays. That is looking increasingly less likely, with the possibility now that restrictions that were potentially to ease on Friday will not happen. At least the aged care sector is being better taken care of today. It was revealed that 44% of Australians, older Australians, older than 50 years old, have at least been inoculated just the one time. And today it was also announced that the government will be offering rebates to GPs to visit the frail and elderly inside their own living room to vaccinate them.
Where you have individuals who are frail or immobile and unable to leave their own homes. It's about expanding the vaccination program, bringing it to people.
And Rob, fresh evidence has been uncovered linking the COVID outbreak to a research lab in Wuhan.
And this is really starting to gather momentum. The suspicion has been growing for quite some time now that that was the case. And a video has been unearthed and leaked, a corporate video to Sharry Markson from News Corp, suggesting that bats were indeed commonplace inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology, some 15,000 or so attributed to the lead scientist there over the past decade. Of course, China has continually denied any involvement with bats inside that laboratory at Wuhan, and what that video has now done is forced the G7 to, I guess, urge China to come clean a little bit more with a second potential probe into its program there in Wuhan.
Robert Avadia reporting. Thank you very much, Rob. More allegations have been made at the highest levels of Swimming Australia. Claims of a toxic environment with athletes body shamed and subjected to degrading behaviour. Miley Hogan reports from the Olympic swimming trials in Adelaide, where a new world record was set last night.
Good afternoon. Well, Australia has a new queen of the pool, 19-year-old Kaylee McEwen. She set a world record last night in the 100-metre backstroke. The 19-year-old is heading to the Olympics for the first time, securing a seat on the plane to Tokyo. But it was an emotional swim for Kaylee last night, and she shared a little bit of her story in her post-swim interview.
It's been a huge year for me and my family. I don't mean to get emotional, but you know, it's been 10 months since my dad passed today. So with that behind me and doing that tonight, I think he'd be really proud.
But Swimming Australia is again under fire, facing allegations of a degrading and abusive toxic culture. Former elite swimmer Dr. Jennifer McMahon released the findings of 14 years of research after interviewing elite swimmers and coaches. Some of the allegations include an 11-year-old who was punished with a 10-kilometre run after eating an ice cream. Girls have been oinked at and told to get a breast reduction. There are also claims of a culture of body shaming.
The toughening the athlete practices, which a lot of coaches are adopting, are indeed abusive, and they do not align with what the International Olympic Committee says is safe sport.
Swimming Australia has called an emergency board meeting to be held tomorrow. They say they are concerned by these allegations and that they are working to set up an independent female panel to investigate these issues that affect their swimmers' experiences.
Disappointing and surprising, absolutely, of course. But you know, we need to look into them. We need to find out, and we need to do what we can about it. Absolutely.
The Olympic trials continue here in Adelaide this evening, and we are expecting some more standout performances from Ariarne Titmus and Emma McKeon.
US President Joe Biden says Queen Elizabeth reminds him of his mother after they had tea at Windsor Castle. The president breached royal etiquette by revealing details about their private meeting. Our Europe correspondent Sarah Greenough reports from London.
Well, this was a very British visit, with US President Joe Biden and the First Lady dropping into Windsor Castle for tea. The Bidens arrived in Marine One, welcomed in the quadrangle of Windsor Castle by the 95-year-old monarch. President Biden is now the 13th US leader that the Queen has met during her incredible 69-year reign. As you can imagine, this event was full of all the usual formalities, the national anthems, the President inspecting a guard of honour before the trio headed off inside to the Queen's apartment for a private audience. Now, usually the exchanges that happen during these private meetings are kept just that. But the President has strayed slightly from royal protocol by revealing to reporters a little bit about his exchange with the Queen, saying that Her Majesty asked him about Russia and China. He also praised her for her generosity.
She was very generous, very... I don't think she'd be insulted, but my mother, she reminded me of my mother in terms of the look of her and you know, just the generosity. And I said, you know, ma'am, this is, you know, it's a long time. She said, oh no. I said, I wish we could stay longer. Maybe we could hold the cars up a minute. So anyway, she was very gracious.
President Biden also telling that press pack there at the airport that he invited the Queen to the White House. After attending the G7 summit in Cornwall and his meeting at Windsor, he has now left the UK, headed off to Brussels for a NATO summit before arriving in Geneva on Wednesday for a highly anticipated meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin.
The fate of a family of Tamil asylum seekers detained on Christmas Island since 2019 will be decided this week. Live to political reporter Rob Scott in Canberra. Good afternoon, Rob. The government is set to rule on whether the family will be allowed to return to their adopted home in Queensland.
Yeah, good afternoon, that's right, Anne. Immigration Minister Alex Hawke will make that decision in the coming days, possibly as early as tomorrow. The family's long-running plight was thrust back into the spotlight again last week after 4-year-old Danica Murugappan was flown to Perth for emergency medical treatment. Her mother is with her in hospital, but WA's Health Department has asked the federal government to allow her father and her sister to join them as Danica faces ongoing care for pneumonia.
Well, as I understand, they are being reunited in Perth as we speak.
We've spoken to Nadez this morning. He hadn't been told anything about flights or anything, so I guess we're just waiting.
While the acting Prime Minister appears to have gotten his wires crossed about a reunion today, many see it as a sign of hope, as support continues to grow from within the coalition for the family to be permanently released from detention.
Thanika and Kapika were born in Australia. Now, maybe if their names were Jane and Sally and they were playing the local netball side, would think twice about sending them back to another country which they're not from.
So will they be settled in Australia? Well, when we have more to say on that matter, well, it's settled. Well, that wouldn't be government policy for a pathway to permanent settlement. That is not the government's policy.
The people smugglers trade won't restart from one family being granted protection.
The Prime Minister says there are other options being considered. Exactly what those are, though, he has not made clear. Anne.
All right, Rob, thank you very much. Israel's parliament has voted to install a new government, ending Prime Minister Netanyahu's 12-year rule. It brings an end to years of political paralysis in Israel after 3 elections resulted in stalemates. Tim Lester has more. Tim, what does this mean for the region?
Well, the dominant politician in Israel for the last quarter of a century has lost the job. His replacement takes over on the back of a coalition that is at best fragile. Few expect it will last anything like the 12 continuous years that Benjamin Netanyahu served as Prime Minister. Israel's longest-serving leader loses office by the narrowest possible margin. The country's Knesset, or Parliament, voting 60-59 to change the government. Large crowds celebrating.
This man, the Prime Minister, he is an evil, and we thought we will never can get rid of him.
A polarising leader fighting corruption charges, but for others, a fierce advocate for his country.
He was great a leader for the Israeli people.
The 71-year-old says he is staying on in opposition to topple what he calls a dangerous government.
We'll be back soon. We'll be back.
Israel's new leader, Naftali Bennett, once worked for Netanyahu. He takes the job for 2 years. The coalition deal then has a handover to a centrist Yair Lapid. There is little to bind the 8 very different parties in Israel's new coalition. One thing does unite them: the fierce opposition to Benjamin Netanyahu. Some believe his staying in politics might be the glue that keeps the shaky new government together.
Tim, thank you. Sydney Roosters and Kangaroos captain Boyd Cordner has called time on his career, retiring this morning. It follows a string of concussions, which has left the star with no other choice but to put his health first. Michelle Bishop has more. Michelle, an emotional final press conference, but a brave call at a critical time for concussion in sport.
Good afternoon. Very emotional indeed. It was really tough to see 40-plus rugged footballers choke back tears as Boyd Cordner revealed his playing days are over. We all know Boyd has a reputation as a true fighter, the captain of Australia, New South Wales and the Roosters. He has been unstoppable until now, abandoning plans to return to the field because of too many head knocks. He's described the last 6 months as gruelling. He's had sleepless nights, ongoing medical tests, but came to the realisation after a recent training session that something just wasn't right.
Trying to find a way for me to brush it aside and to play on, but like I said, I put my health and my happiness first, and you know, it's as hard as it's going to be because I feel like I've got a lot more left to give to the game.
Cordner goes out a champion, 183 games for the Roosters, 16 matches for New South Wales and 20 games for Australia. He's the 3rd high-profile NRL star to be forced into retirement this year prematurely. Of course, we all know the story of his close mate, Jake Friend, who exited earlier this year because of concussion issues, and Brett Morris, his teammate, suffered a serious knee injury. But of course, today was all about Boyd Cordner and the wonderful career he had.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Angie Asimus joins us now with a look at the forecast. Hi there, Angie. Been a wintry day around Sydney.
Yeah, it has, and quite cold out in that breeze today. Right now, it's 17 degrees, so not too bad. Feels like 15 though, and those south-southwesterly winds are fairly light, but still pretty chilly if you are out in the shade. Temperatures have been fairly standard around the state for this time of year. We're at a top of 19 degrees at Wollongong, and for Newcastle, Dubbo hit 16. A little bit cooler in the south with a top of just 13 degrees at Young. In the wake of last week's low pressure system, a high now dominates our state. Inland though, you'll see just a fair bit of low-lying cloud about. It is generally not rain-bearing though. That will all change later in the week. Our model predicts some wet weather sweeping across from the west from midweek, reaching Sydney by the weekend. Right now though, all pretty settled, currently sitting on about 15 degrees at Griffith. Orange has dropped to just 5, while generally high teens along the coast. Now, we should see more sunny breaks tomorrow. All those details coming up soon, Anne.
Look forward to seeing you then. Just ahead in Sydney's afternoon news on 7, a major feature being removed from the Harbour Bridge. Vladimir Putin offers to hand over Russian hackers to America, but he wants something controversial in return. Why? The secret to keeping your brain young could already be in your pantry. That story a little later. But first, what Chris Hemsworth and our very own Mark Beretta have in common. That's next.
If I was in the outback, would I survive?
No.
The kids are taking over 7 Flicks.
This is ugly.
Imagine how I feel right now with this man's hand.
Little Big Shots, tonight on 7 Flicks.
Discover lakefront living at its finest at Ingenia Lifestyle's Sunny Lake Shores. Situated on the picturesque shores of Lake Marmora, this welcoming over 55s lifestyle community is waiting for you. Affordable lakeside living can be yours from just $379,000. Downsize your home and upgrade your lifestyle. Join a safe and secure community with the freedom to do the things you love your way. So visit us today at Ingenia Lifestyle's Sunny Lake Shores.
We know you've always worked hard for your money. In these uncertain economic times, who do you trust to protect your wealth? Invest with La Trobe Financial, Australia's multi-award winning wealth manager and leading credit specialist. Trusted by Australians for more than 60 years.
When the slip and slide doesn't have quite enough slip or slide,
Okay.
it's time for Tylenol.
I'm good. I don't know what happened there, eh?
When you choose Allianz Comprehensive Car Insurance, you could enjoy up to 15% off your first year's premium when you buy a new policy online. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead.
Let's promise to stop hand washing, use our dishwashers more often and save up to 200 litres of water a week. And right now at Woolworths, collect a free Finish water plate with every $20 spend on Finish products.
Out on the patio, we'd sit, and the humidity we'd breathe. We'd watch the lightning crack over cane fields, laugh and think, this is Australia. This is Australia.
Colorbond, made by Australia.
Every homeowner knows once in a while you're going to find yourself in a mini home emergency, like a burst pipe, or an electrical failure, or a locked out situation. And when you do, GIO Home Assist can be there to help. With GIO Home Assist cover, you get up to 3 emergency call-outs per year. And right now, GIO Home Assist is free for a year with new GIO home insurance policies. Call 13 10 10 or visit gio.com.au. You know, with GIO.
Don't tell Grandad, but he was right. I've overcooked these steaks.
I'm always right, son. I thought you'd know that by now.
Dad, how on earth did you hear that?
Have you heard of Amplifon?
At Amplifon, the hearing care professionals experience our latest technology hearing aids with a free trial, including the new Ampli Mini, so small it's almost invisible. Call 13MyEars to book an appointment and experience a free trial in the comfort of your own home. That's 13 69 32 77. Amplifon, the hearing care professionals.
You're watching 7's 4 p.m. Sydney News, and this is the view from Medlow Bath at the top of the Blue Mountains. Right now it's 8 degrees. The Sydney Harbour Bridge was closed overnight to remove 2 maintenance units on the Eastern Arch. A 350-tonne crane was brought in and lane shut. Another 2 units on the Western Arch will be removed next month. Since 1997, the units have provided access for crews to paint the bridge and transport the New Year's Eve fireworks. All will be replaced next year by custom-designed units. Australians from all walks of life are being celebrated today after being recognised in the Queen's Birthday Honours list. Among the recipients, sporting stars, actors, researchers and those dedicating their lives to charity work. Tom Hartley has more.
From Hollywood stars to hometown heroes, almost 1,200 Aussies have received a Queen's Birthday honour, each with a uniquely inspiring story. Neil Danaher's is one of them, fighting to find a cure for motor neuron disease.
We're out here is fighting the beast so that we can help everyone who's currently battling MND and those that will be diagnosed in the future.
Laura O'Reilly started a not-for-profit organisation, Fighting Chance, from the ground up, creating opportunities and inclusivity for disabled Australians.
I never would have thought that we'd be here today, that Fighting Chance would be supporting over 1,000 people with disability.
Dally M medalist and NRL Hall of Famer Ricky Stewart is today honoured for his work off the footy field. His charity provides respite for families living with children with a disability.
You don't do things for accolades. But I am very, very humbled by the award.
Among the other recipients, Olympian Erin Phillips, recognised for her service to AFL and basketball, political commentator and former government chief of staff Peter Credlin, Sunrise's Mark Beretta for his inspiring work with the cancer donation group Tour de Cure, and the list goes on.
Today's list includes the highest ever percentage of women, 44%.
A milestone, 46 years in the making. Tom Hartley, 7 News.
Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's open to handing over cyber criminals to the United States, but only if America does the same for Moscow. Mr. Putin made the comments in an interview on state television ahead of his meeting with US President Joe Biden this week. The White House says Mr. Biden will bring up cyber attacks from Russia at the summit on June 16. The death toll from a gas line explosion which tore through a suburb in central China has risen to 12. The majority of the victims were shopping at a food market when the blast hit just after 6 a.m. Rescuers climbed over broken concrete slabs to reach people trapped under rubble. Jacinda Ardern has spoken out against a movie project based on the aftermath of the Christchurch mosque attacks. A US company is in the early stages of producing the movie called They Are Us, which focuses on the New Zealand Prime Minister's response to the massacre. Jacinda Ardern says it feels very soon and very raw. Australian actress Rose Byrne has been cast to play Ms Ardern. Next in 7's afternoon news, fire in the Perisher ski tube tunnel, train passengers evacuated. Our coast is about to look a lot different, but it's good news for those who love the outdoors. And in sport, Manly's triple turbo, the third Trebojevic brother, making a name for himself in the NRL.
Tonight on 7 News with Mark Ferguson.
Chase chaos the moment a dramatic pursuit ends. A man accused of stalking the Deputy Premier. And can this small capsule help you lose weight?
There's 1 million more reasons to start the day with a smile. Win your share of 1 million Qantas points on Sunrise tomorrow.
Nice car. Did you get your Woolies worth on car insurance?
Woolies worth?
With Woolworths car insurance, you could get 10% off your groceries once a month.
Thanks, mate. Very helpful.
Get a quote online today.
Spit water heaters instant heat this winter. Jetfire industrial LPG and diesel fired heaters are fully automatic, reliable, portable, highly efficient, robust, packed with safety features, and all LP gas heaters AGA approved. For instant heat, Spit water heats. That's what it does.
At Harvey Norman, save a massive $500 on the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip. Save $200 on Galaxy Watch 3, now $448. Plus, bonus gift card up to $1,000 when you buy on interest-free. On now.
A lot of people have sensitive teeth, but gum health is really important. Sensodyne Sensitivity in Gum toothpaste not only deals with sensitivity, it also maintains gum health. 2 benefits, 1 toothpaste. What a great idea.
When profit isn't your motivation, you define success very differently. At HCF, we define it by welcome back parties,
I've got some good news for you.
sighs of relief,
so much. It's all sorted on our end.
belly laughs, and little surprises. As Australia's largest not-for-profit health fund, we define success by the well-being of our members, because uncommon care is our bottom line.
Don't you just love settling in with a good book? Let's be real, life often gets in the way of reading. That's where Audible comes in. Audible is excellent for unwinding in bed with a cuppa.
I might just be an average bloke, but trust me, Audible really takes the hassle out of housework.
Audible. With over 400,000 audiobooks, it's books that fit with real life.
Get a 2-month free trial for a limited time. Go to audible.com.au. T's and C's apply.
Mum wanted to stay in her own home, so it was wonderful that we had an organisation that could give us peace of mind that she was being very well cared for.
Anglicare at Home has a network of extraordinary care workers that can support you to continue living independently in your home.
I think the carers are absolute angels and they do make our lives easier, so just very, very grateful for that.
Search Anglicare at Home.
When you're with NIB, it's easy to get the most out of your health cover with the NIB app. You can find a provider near you, check how much you have left on your extras cover, submit a hospital or extras claim in an instant with photo claiming, or with an Android phone, you can also use your digital member card for contactless claiming. Download the NIB app today and put your policy in your pocket. NIB, it's worth it.
Parrish's opening weekend didn't exactly go off without a hitch. 250 people were forced off the ski tube train when a fire broke out. The train was halfway through a tunnel when passengers noticed flames and smoke coming from a blaze under a carriage. Luckily, a military firefighter was on board, coordinating an effort to put the fire out and move bystanders to safety. The blaze is believed to have been caused by overheating brakes. It's time for sport now with Mel McLaughlin, and there's another Turbo brother making his way to the NRL.
Yeah, there is, and Ben Trbojevic says he doesn't feel any pressure to replicate the feats of his star siblings Tom and Jake. The Manly rookie's career started with a high shot from David Klemmer. Now, with 2 games and a victory under his belt, Trbojevic is beginning to find his feet with a little help.
Jake and Tom, they helped me with my nerves a bit, to just calm me down, and they were just in my ear, you'll be fine, Ben, just do your best.
Injured Maroon star Dane Gagai trained this morning with strapping on his injured hand along with Jai Arrow. Both are expected to play for Souths against the Broncos on Thursday night. Cameron Munster avoided suspension for his latest kicking incident. Novak Djokovic has pulled off a stunning comeback to win the French Open. The world #1 struggled early, dropping the first 2 sets to Stefanos Tsitsipas, the first Greek to play a Grand Slam final. But Djokovic fought back, taking more than 4 hours to win a 5-set epic.
And Djokovic does it. He's the champion for the second time.
Unforgettable matches, unforgettable moments for me, for my career, for my life.
England players were booed by a section of the crowd at Wembley for taking a knee before their opening game at Euro 2020.
The mixed reception is a clear indication that there is still work to be done.
Yes, there is. Raheem Sterling scored the only goal as England beat Croatia 1-0. Austria won their first ever European Championship game, beating North Macedonia 3-1, and the Netherlands defeated Ukraine 3-2. England are in disarray 5 months out from the Ashes, but Tim Payne isn't reading too much into the old enemy's embarrassing series loss to New Zealand. They're first at home since 2014.
It certainly wasn't England's strongest team. And we know that when they come here, you're going to get a Ben Stokes, they're going to have Jofra Archer.
New Zealand's next assignment is the World Test Championship final against India at Lord's next month. Jess Fox celebrated her 27th birthday with a gold medal in her first international competition in the best part of 2 years. The dual Olympic medalist took out the C1 category at the Canoe World Cup in Prague.
It's really exciting to be back here and racing and to see where we're at after being away for so long.
The C1 is a new addition to the Olympic program for Tokyo. Paul Gallen is promising to crush Justice Hooney's dream of winning gold in Tokyo.
Whether it's break your jaw, break your face, break your arm.
Bring it.
I don't care what it is. I'm going to do everything I can to break something in you so you don't go to the Olympics. That dream since you've been 7 years old is going to be...
Indeed, the pair fight on Wednesday night at the Convention Centre in Darling Harbour. And finally, one of the great events of the year, sporting identities from across the country took the plunge for the 7th edition of Neil Danaher's Big Freeze to fight motor neuron disease. Craig Bellamy checked in from the Storm's Queensland base, dressed as Elsa from Frozen.
I'm off into the frozen waters, so we'll see you again soon. Bye.
I think they enjoyed that. AFL boss Gil McLachlan went down the slide as Meatloaf, the worst grand final entertainment of all time. I absolutely love that choice. It was shocking, of course, Meatloaf. And Craig Bellamy, I'm sure nothing prepares you for that.
No, deserves a dunking.
But
Hope they raise lots of money.
Yeah, great cause.
Thanks, Mel. Don't go anywhere. Our top stories are just ahead. 100 kilometres an hour in a 50 zone. A driver crashes in St Andrews after terrorising a quiet neighbourhood. John Barilaro, stalking arrest. The Deputy Premier, the victim of a bizarre campaign, and it's allegedly linked to a YouTube star. Major work set to slash travel time to a major Sydney holiday destination. And Pricey Pooch, meet the world's most valuable cattle dog. That's next.
This farm, it's my world, it's my baby, and my end game out of this is to find, hopefully, the one to share my life with.
I own like 4 kids,
Oh.
so...
A little bit of love. Definitely feel something there already. Straight away, there's an attraction. Just like the air I'm breathing, I just gotta listen to my heart.
Real Love is back. Farmer Wants a Wife is coming soon to 7.
Australia, meet your new McCafe blend. Roasted and blended in Melbourne. Smoother, richer, and crafted for Aussies who love great coffee. The new McCafe blend. Now that's coffee fit for an Aussie.
With degrees in business and commerce, community services, fashion, arts and design, you can graduate with a qualification and the hands-on skills employers want. Search TAFE New South Wales Degrees or call 131 601.
Get covered for less than your direct with Uber. Before life hits, you get 6 weeks free when you join on eligible products. Hurry! Search Uber 6 weeks free.
At Bunnings, we'll know that a kitchen is more than just a place to cook. It can be a classroom, you can have your kids at your bench, an art gallery for your kids' artwork, so your kitchen needs to be designed to fit your life, because Bunnings kitchens are made for real life. Shop at Bunnings wherever you are, whenever you want.
So how do y'all want to play this?
Crank it all the way up.
Man, we messing with magnets now?
Yeah!
Whoa.
That's what I'm talking about.
We supposed to stop that? Hold on!
Yes!
Fast and Furious 9. In cinemas Thursday.
4 out of 5 people who are blind don't need to be. A simple $25 surgery can restore sight. Please donate today to help carry on Fred's vision.
Every eye is an eye.
Ben & Jerry's Topped. Discover a delicious chocolatey fudge topping, then dig in to uncover even more with swirls of salted caramel and chocolate fudge brownies. Ben & Jerry's Topped. Layered with goodness from top to bottom.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Ann Sanders.
Welcome back to our Martin Place headquarters. These are our top stories on 7. A crime spree has come to a crashing end after 3 men allegedly led police on a wild chase through the streets of Western Sydney. A horse has been killed, hit by a car in Bankstown. Its rider has serious leg and hip injuries and is now in Liverpool Hospital. Health officials in Victoria are scrambling to contain yet another COVID outbreak, this time at a Melbourne townhouse complex which is now in lockdown. And still to come, how nuts could help ward off the effect of brain ageing. That story soon. But first, a driver is in hospital after a high-speed crash in Sydney's western suburbs. The 24-year-old was travelling double the speed limit when he ploughed into a family home. Natasha Squarey has the story.
Well, residents say they heard a car speeding up and down this street for around half an hour before the crash. And it's believed the driver was travelling more than 100 kilometres per hour in this 50 zone. Around 1:30 this morning, the driver of the Mitsubishi Lancer then lost control and slammed into the side of this St Andrews home and spun back onto the road. Residents were woken by the impact, including the young couple and toddler who were inside the home. They were all in shock, and the family has told us today that their 2.5-year-old boy's bedroom is on the other side of this wall, and they're incredibly grateful they weren't injured. As for the 24-year-old man behind the wheel, he suffered multiple injuries and was treated on the side of the road by witnesses and paramedics. His passenger wasn't hurt.
Carnage everywhere. The car was in the middle of the road and the guy was on the footpath, not moving much.
The driver was taken to Liverpool Hospital with internal injuries and is today recovering from surgery.
It looks to be very lucky that there was only one patient as a result of the accident.
Investigators will speak with the man when he's well enough, and it's likely he'll be charged with multiple driving offences.
A producer for the controversial online comedy group Friendly Geordies has been charged with stalking the New South Wales Deputy Premier. 21-year-old Christo Lanka is accused of stalking and intimidating John Barilaro and was arrested at his family home at Dulwich Hill earlier this month. Mr Barilaro is currently suing the YouTube comedian for defamation. Construction will begin next year on major upgrades aimed at improving driver safety in the Blue Mountains. The $2 million investment comes as the government investigates an 11-kilometre super tunnel. Evan Batten reports.
And traffic has been building up well and truly right through the mountains now for the last several hours, as it does every long weekend. So news of this $2 billion of taxpayers' money being spent by the federal government will be welcomed by everyone sitting in these long lines of traffic. The money will be spent over the next 5 years, mainly creating a dual carriageway for 34 kilometres from Lithgow to Medlow Bath and other improvements to various intersections along the way.
We know, again, that this project has been put in the too hard basket. This is needed to happen. This is not only good for the Central West, but it's also good for those that are living and working in the mountains.
We all know also that Sydney is marching westward. You only have to go over the Sandstone Curtain to see those big homes moving towards the mountains.
Now, of course, and this will marry up with the Great Tunnel project that is yet to be announced in properly. No decision yet as to if they'll be creating one 11-kilometre tunnel or two shorter tunnels through the mountains. For locals and thousands of other drivers who've sat in hours of traffic getting home this long weekend, this project, which is expected to commence construction next year, can't come soon enough, man.
Thanks, Evan. Some of our state's most prized coastal lookouts will soon be linked up with a 5-day walking trail planned from the Illawarra to Botany Bay. It's part of a new National Parks promotion to be outlined in next week's state budget. Tom Saker reports.
Well, and this latest budget announcement is aiming to make the most of national parks on the one side and the New South Wales coastline on the other, thanks to a $31 million investment. It's been named the Great Southern Walk and will stretch 59 kilometres from here at Sublime Point to Botany Bay, with options to camp along the way or stay in eco cabins which will be built along the track. Making use of existing paths, there will also be a new bike path about 50 kilometres long.
We want to take our walks from good to great, and this $30 million investment here will go a long way to improving trails, accommodation and making sure more people come out.
Literally you'll be able to walk along the coast and have
wallaby on one side and a humpback whale breaching on the other side.
National Parks has welcomed the investment and says that by the time the paths are open in 2024, international and local tourists will generate even more revenue for National Parks, which already accounts for 60 million visits a year and billions in economic activity. We've been assured that the paths will showcase the best of the lookouts, including Gary Beach, Providential Point and all the way up to Kurnell. The paths are still in the planning stages and we've been assured that they won't damage the ecosystem. Anne?
Thanks, Tom. A Victorian Kelpie has set a new record for the most money paid for a working dog. Meet Hoover. He was sold for more than $35,000 at auction, a new national record price. His new owner wants to remain anonymous, but we do know he's a sheep and cattle grazier from northeast Victoria. And as for why Hoover is so valuable, it's because of his exceptional talents in the paddock. Just ahead on 7's Afternoon News, the earth opens up, a fire truck falls into a monster sinkhole. Meet the man who was almost swallowed by a humpback whale and lived. And it's 15 degrees in Cronulla. Angie has Sydney's forecast soon.
Stay with me. Hey, stay with me. I got you.
Get fired up for the explosive new season.
I think we're going to have some fun.
Rob Lowe. All new 911 Lone Star, tonight on 7.
Choices. They all matter. The big, the little. They make us who we are. Like taking on the stress of a family road trip. Because it's worth it. For them. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead.
New Chuck's antibacterial dual-action wet wipes. The textured side tackles tough grease and grime, the smooth side whisks away everyday mess, and they kill 99.99% of bacteria and germs. Find in store with Chuck's.
You can do it. It's just a bird.
This week's Oz Lotto draw is serving up more big Aussie fun than a barbie with your mates. Get into Oz Lotto's $2 million draw this Tuesday.
Play now in-store at thelot.com or on the Lot app.
Let's compare health insurance. You might even save some money.
Okay, I'll do it.
Take the out of saving. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect.
We always thought Valia provided a feel-good start to the day. Then we discovered its special probiotics are proven to boost immunity and digestion, all in a deliciously creamy yogurt. Now we know why Valia is so full of feel-goodness.
It's the classic T's and C's mumble read. We all do it. We start off strong with good intentions and then we run out of steam. That's why Bankwest have introduced visual T's and C's. A bank making T's and C's easier to understand? Well, no one saw that coming. To see for yourself, search Bankwest Visual T's and C's. Bankwest, bank less.
Don't miss a moment. New to the Bisolven 2-in-1 range, Bisolven Cough Relief plus Immune Support. Bisolven Cough Relief plus Relax and Calm. And Bisolven Duo to help relieve an irritated throat and associated dry cough. Take action now for your cough with Bisolven. Moments uninterrupted.
There once was a proud super nerd who got complacent and sang like a bird. And just when he thought he could rest,
BMW. It's on the clock. Oh, no, it's not.
this team started scoring their best.
Why, I order.
Now can Nerdy remember a word? Knew the Chase. Weekdays on 7.
Ned Beatty, the actor made famous by that notorious scene in the film Deliverance, has died aged 83. His career spanned some 150 films, including Shooter, All the President's Men, and more recently, a voice part in Toy Story 3. Beatty died of natural causes at his home in Los Angeles. Brisbane residents woke to the sound of white goods floating through their homes after a water main burst, flooding houses. A sinkhole formed on a busy intersection, trapping a passing fire engine. Elliot Chipper reports.
With this much damage underneath the road, driving a fire truck over the top is never going to end well. The sinkhole swallowing the 13-tonne machine just after 4 a.m. The cracked water main causing so much pressure, it burst through the bitumen, sending almost half a metre of water and debris flowing down onto nearby businesses and properties.
The pipe is around 300 millimetres in diameter, so it is one of the larger pipes in our network, and that's why there was quite a lot of water.
The ground floor of this Beatrice Street home flooded. Downstairs looking more like an indoor swimming pool than a laundry. The backyard pool next door didn't fare much better. And for the occupants in this home 2 streets away, everything in the garage is gone.
We checked downstairs, had to turn off all the electricals, and it was probably up to about knee height, but we grabbed what we could, but most of the belongings are still very wet.
The fire truck was removed from the sinkhole just after 6 a.m, and that's when workers from Queensland Urban Utilities could finally assess the damage.
I didn't see the fire truck, but it's certainly going to put a bit of a dampen on our ability to get in and out of the building today by the look of it.
Fortunately, only one lane on Juliet Street had to be closed, saving headaches for drivers on the Monday morning commute.
The crews will work throughout the day to repair the pipe, and there are some changed traffic conditions in the area, so we urge motorists to take care.
Workers are now clearing debris, rock and loose sand from this intersection, but they say up to 50 square metres of bitumen will now have to be replaced.
You're watching 7's Afternoon News live across Sydney. Still to come, boosting brain function, the simple trick to warding off the effects of age. Scientists say the answer is in your pantry. Our report is coming up in just a few minutes. An American fisherman is now back with his family after escaping from the mouth of a humpback whale. The man says he's relatively unscathed after the biblical-sounding encounter that whale experts describe as rare but plausible. Here's our US correspondent, Tim Lester.
It's the homecoming Massachusetts fisherman Michael Packard briefly feared he'd never see. From a lobster diving trip off America's Atlantic coast, he was fishing 15 metres beneath the surface when the terror started.
And I just felt this truck hit me, and everything just went dark. I just thought, did I just get eaten by a white shark? And then I said, no, I don't feel any teeth. And I said, oh my God, I'm in the mouth of a whale with his mouth shut.
The 57-year-old says he'd lost his regulator, needed to breathe, and he began thinking about his family.
Am I just gonna, like, run out of air and suffocate? Is he gonna swallow me? This is how you're gonna go, Michael. This is how you're gonna die. In the mouth of a whale.
Spare a thought too for son Jacob in a class, reading a text message from his mum.
Yeah, your dad was diving and a whale just, I don't know, attacked him, ate him.
He just got thrown out of his mouth into the water. There was just white water everywhere, and I just was laying on the surface floating.
Rejected as lunch, but alive with a dislocated knee, Michael Packard says as soon as he's recovered, he's heading back to the water.
Tim Lester reporting. Sydney's 6 p.m. news is coming up with Mark Ferguson. Hi there, Mark. What are you working on in the newsroom?
Yeah, hello, Anne. Here's what we've got for you tonight. More on the chaos in our western suburbs this morning. A police chase coming to a dramatic end. A driver arrested along with 2 passengers. Tonight, why police say innocent bystanders were at extreme risk. It was a record-breaking night for Australian swimming, but on a day of celebration, the sport has been rocked by claims of a toxic culture. At 6, reaction from swimming's elite ahead of emergency talks. The fate of a Tannell family detained for nearly 3 years is set to be decided. They'll soon be reunited with their youngest daughter, but will they also be granted visas? A major boost for the long-awaited second stage of the Parramatta Light Rail project, how the government's planning to get the new line ready, the exclusive details. And no surgery and no diets, the small capsule promising to help shed the kilos, now approved for use in Australia. But does it really work? See the results. And all that and plenty more, 7 News tonight at 6 o'clock.
See you then, Fergo. All the details on that nut study are coming up in just a moment, but first it's time to get a check on Sydney's traffic.
Good
afternoon, Andrew Oppenheimer here in the Stays traffic chopper. If you're heading back into Sydney on the M1, allow for plenty of travel time between the Central Coast and Wahroonga southbound. And in Bankstown, we're just hovering over an accident on Canterbury Road at Clarabelle Street. On Canterbury Road, 2 lanes are closed eastbound with delays backing up behind it. You don't have to go far from Sydney to get away together. Book a home that makes the holidays with Stays. Your Together awaits. Download the Stays app for your next holiday today.
A handful of nuts each day has been proven to be a vital brain booster for people over 60. As Sarah Jones reports, a new study has found eating a small amount every day can improve cognitive function.
A handful of nuts each day could significantly improve brain health. Deakin University researchers examined the cognitive functions of more than 1,800 older participants who consumed no nuts, an average serving and more than the daily recommended amount. They found people over 60 are likely to see the benefits by consuming between 15 and 30 grams a day, which works out to 20 almonds or 15 cashews, 10 Brazil nuts or 10 walnuts.
We included all nuts in our study, so the findings of our study is likely to be extended to all sorts of nuts.
They improve cognitive function, including recall, verbal fluency, processing speed and attention. But not nearly enough older Australians are consuming them.
One thing we found in the study is quite interesting was that only about 56% of older adults actually consume nuts in their diets, and 44% actually did not consume any nuts at all in the diet.
While nuts can be healthy, to get the benefits they shouldn't be eaten in large quantities or in sugary treats.
Next in 7's afternoon news, Angie Asimus is here with your very latest weather forecast.
Oh, Mac. My sister's been missing for a few days.
I've humiliated myself and lost all my friends.
Something must have turned up by now.
Help! Hey!
Fishermen found a body out in the water. Police are saying it's a woman.
In an unmissable week, whose life will change forever?
But I have a really bad feeling about this.
I saw him down on the beach. He had blood on his hands. How could you do this?
If that is my sister that they are pulling out of the water, it is your fault!
Home and Away, this week at 7 on 7.
Are you ready to quit smoking? Ready to start tasting again? Ready to stop coughing? Are you ready to get your breath back? And start saving money? When you quit smoking, things improve quickly. When you quit, you win. Get the top 10 tips to quit successfully at icanquit.com.au or to talk to a qualified counsellor. Call Quitline on 13 78 48.
Here at Amart Furniture, our end of financial year sale is on now, with up to 50% off a massive range of quality furniture in-store and online. You won't want to miss it. Amart Furniture. These offers end tomorrow.
With more than 20% protein for muscle development, Nutri-Grain is one of the highest protein cereals.
Choosing a Macca's favourite. A delicious dilemma. You love the sauce, but cheese is calling. And the drizzle. Ah, quite the pickle. So the only question is, how will you decide? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Cold coming on?
There can't be. I have my son this weekend.
Own your cold. Work from home, so at playtime you can unlock for an Allosaurus. Soldier on sooner with Codral.
This is a cold drink. Flavoured with raspberry, rosehip and guarana. That's brewed for balance. Try new Twinings Live Well Uplift. Drink some good.
Morning, Keith. Did you know if you buy new eligible Amy home and car insurance together, you can save 20% off the second policy until July 9?
Sounds great.
But who is that?
I don't know. But he talks to me all the time.
It's our little secret, Keith.
Who does?
Yep. Double up and save, Keith. Does your insurer offer this? Amy does.
There once was a proud super nerd who got complacent and sang like a bird. And just when he thought he could rest,
BMW. It's on the clock. Oh, no, it's not.
This team started scoring their best.
Why, I order.
Now can Nerdy remember a word? Knew the Chase. Weekdays on 7.
This weather report brought to you by Bridgestone Select for tyres and car servicing.
This tiny capsule slashed 23 kilos off their waistline. No diet or surgery. Know how it works. Only on 7 News, 6 o'clock.
A very lucky young boy has been given the souvenir of a lifetime at the French Open. Angie C with the forecast. Hi there, Angie. Cool and cloudy again tomorrow.
It will be, and not too much change to this weather pattern just yet. Pretty stable. It won't be until late Wednesday when the next round of showers moves through. So under partly cloudy skies, temperatures were pretty well spot on average. Day a low of 9.9, followed by a top of 17.8, although it did feel a few degrees cooler than that out in the breeze. The latest satellite image shows a high is clearly the dominant feature over our state at the moment. Inland, we do have some low-lying cloud across, but it is not rain-bearing, while a trough sitting off the southeast coast is triggering a few light showers there. Tomorrow we'll see fairly clear skies over our state, but a trough and front across in the distance there are headed this way, due to trigger some showers and storms by Wednesday evening. Around the nation tomorrow, Brisbane will be partly cloudy, heading for a top of 22 degrees. Canberra, top of 14. It'll be overcast for both Melbourne and Hobart. Showers increasing for Adelaide. Perth also expecting a few showers. Back in the city, partly cloudy skies put tomorrow with a temperature range of 10 to 19 degrees. Winds will be fairly light, so not too chilly out in the elements. To the week ahead, Wednesday brings a sunny morning with quite warm tops in the 20s. Then late afternoon showers will develop, followed by a clear day on Thursday before those coastal showers redevelop once again from Friday, and they will push right through into early next week. That's the latest weather and more details coming up at 6 o'clock.
Thanks a lot, Angie. And that is Sydney's 4 p.m. news for this Monday. Mark Ferguson will bring you 7 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Ann Sanders. Stay with 7 Now for the Chase Australia, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.